Namaskar learners, I, Dr. Deepika Tomar, welcome you to the course Leadership Equation, Balancing Vision, Strategy and People. The second topic of this module 6 is Leaders' Role in Change Management. At the end of this topic, you will be able to discuss leaders' role in change management, responsibilities of leaders in managing change. George Bernard Shaw once said, "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." No doubt, change is a dreaded phenomenon for anyone, be an individual or an organization. All organizations face change. Sometimes it is an improvement driven internally, and other times external factors force a change. How an organization handles the change can make the difference between successful or failed outcomes. But change is not just an event or outcome, it is a process. In today's dynamic world, change is the only constant. Looking into the organizational perspective, the reason of change may be varied, like advancement in technology, change in customers' taste and preferences, change in legal framework, market disruptions, etc. But eventually, organizations to survive and thrive need to cope up and adapt the change as soon as possible. Change is constant and very important. But it is also true that managing the change is not an easy task. Rather, it requires a good strategic plan from the leaders who are managing the change in organization. The strategic plan involves a good effort on the part of the leadership team. Clarity of vision, clarity of communication are few of the essential factors here. As normally, change involves a lot of efforts to cope up at the bottom level. That is the most affected area. Hence, leaders need to be sensitive also towards the team. For effective introduction and implementation of change, throughout this process, organizations require a high quality leadership. The leaders who can provide emotional alignment to the team are considered as high quality leadership here. Often, the change management efforts of the organizations go in vain, and it happens because of complex human nature. What sounds motivating to me may not sound the same to the other one. High quality leadership addresses the emotional concerns by considering the hearts and minds of the people working towards a common goal. Hence, the role of leader is very prominent in management of change. So, let's discuss the role of leadership skills in change management. Having said that, it brings us to the role of leadership skills in managing such changes and facilitating the acceptance of it in the face of resistance. So, leadership role becomes even more important when resistance from affected stakeholders can be seen. This resistance may be of three types. The first one is logical and rational. Now, this logical and rational resistance is based on time required to adjust, extra efforts to learn, economic cost and questionable technical feasibility. Next is psychological and emotional. Psychological and emotional resistance stems for growing through the fear of unknown, low tolerance to adjustments or any changes, lack of trust, desire for the status quo and dislike for the change agent. Next is sociological. Sociological resistance attributes to the biased associations, narrow outlook, vested interest and opposing group values. Such resistance to change is primarily based on three major factors. One is individual resistance depending upon economical, psychological or social factors. Then we have group resistance. This is based on the group's status, norms, cohesiveness and social interactions. And then we have organizational resistance also, which includes stability of the system, resources limitation and sunk cost, etc. Now, it is the onus of the leader to maneuver the organization through these resistance towards an affirmative outlook and by building trust in what is to follow. He is the one who can help overcome unproductive resistance to change and can manage the change by keeping few important responsibilities in the mind. Let's discuss those points in upcoming slide. So, The core responsibilities of leaders for managing the change are: the first one here is inspiring a shared vision. Even before you start making change, leadership must have a clear vision. They should be clearly communicated to the team. Leaders must create well-defined vision and strategy. A vision statement defines organization's desired future state and communicates the purpose and significance of change, whereas a strategy outlines the action plan, specific steps and timelines to move forward towards the vision. Leaders must portray the vision of organization in such an inspiring way that the team should feel some correlation between the vision of the organization and their self-development and growth. Now, another critical aspect for leaders in change management is communicating the need for change and elaborating its benefit to the different stakeholders. So, clear and insistent communication leads to support and reduce chances of resistance. When need for change is effectively communicated by the leaders, it develops a sense of urgency and understanding amongst the team. Proper articulation of the purpose behind the change helps the leaders in getting the other stakeholders recognize the importance of embracing new ways of doing things. Next is leading by example. Be the change you want to see in the world. This quote by Mahatma Gandhi proves worthy here. Leaders steering the change should first be prepared to adapt the change, and it should be reflected in their behavior as well. They need to be visibly engaged and enthusiastic during the entire change process. When team members see their leaders embracing the change with warmth and compassion, they also feel inspired and show more zeal and confidence in adapting to the change. Next is building support and coordination. The crafting a well-designed plan is important, but not just sufficient in implementing the change successfully. It requires a wholehearted support and contribution of all involved stakeholders. An effective change management demands collective efforts. Leaders must identify the key stakeholders, change agents, influencers within the organization, and they should try to build an alliance amongst all. Such relationships help the leadership team in driving the change by disseminating the information, inspiring the team members, addressing the concerns timely, and take suitable corrective measures accordingly. Leaders play an important role in nurturing these relationships, maintaining harmony, and foster an open, collaborative, and conducive work environment during the time change is taking place within the organization. Now, next one here is effective communication. Communication plays a vital role throughout the change process. Leaders should develop a robust communication plan or strategy that must cater both top-down and bottom-up communication channels in the organization. Through clear and consistent communication, leaders may engage the different stakeholders of change by providing regular updates on the progress of change initiatives. It helps in fostering positive engagement amongst the involved stakeholders. So, effective communication also gives leaders a way to introduce the rationale behind the change and the outcomes expected. Here, transparency of communication also plays a pivotal role. Other than the opportunities related with the change, the possible challenges and potential risks should also be communicated. Generally, informed and engaged employees resist less and show trust into the organization and its process, and this facilitates a smoother transition. Next one here is developing and empower employees. Very important. Sometimes employees may find the process of change tough and ambiguous. They might develop fear and uncertainty because of change, and such employee may resist to change. To avoid such situations, the leaders must be proactive and prepare beforehand. Leaders can downturn it by empowering the team and providing them with all required support, including resources as well as emotional support. By fostering a culture of promoting innovations, continuous learning and development, upscaling the employees with the required skill sets, change may be navigated successfully. Empowered employees have a sense of ownership and responsibility. Hence, the change of resistance is reduced. Next important point here is dealing with resistance. Resistance to change is a natural human reaction. It may hamper the change implementation process if not handled well and within time by leaders implementing the change. Now, empathy is the key here. Leaders must manage the resistance by being empathetic with the employees. Active listening, open communication, showing concern and providing logical solution to the concern of the affected team is very important on leaders' part. Team members may also be involved in decision making as this makes them feel empowered, and empowered employees generally resist less as they are the part of decision making and are well informed of the process also. Next important point is sustaining the change by celebrating its success. Not only team leader but each member of the team plays a crucial role in change implementation and their efforts should be recognized well. To boost the morale of the team, celebrating milestones attained and success achieved throughout the change journey is very important. It is a very important role to be played by the leaders again. By acknowledging and rewarding progress, leaders reinforce the benefits of change and motivate the employees to continue embracing new ways of working. To ensure long-term success and sustainment of the implemented change, reinforcement given by the leaders is pivotal. Change management is not an easy task, but an effective and strong leadership can navigate the complications of change and arise stronger than ever. By inspiring a shared vision, effective communication, leading by example, empowering employees, leader can create a conducive environment where changes are embraced as an opportunity for growth and not as a threat. So to conclude, we can say that effective change management is critical to the organizational success and effective leadership is essential for successful change management. High quality leadership must be present through the entire process of change. Think of high quality leadership as emotional alignment, which includes setting a clear vision, communicating effectively, motivating their teams and managing resistance. Leaders can guide their organizations through transition and achieve desired outcomes. Leadership addresses the emotional consideration by considering the hearts and minds of people working towards a common goal. In this topic, you learned importance of leaders' role in change management and responsibilities of leaders in managing change. Thank you and happy learning.